Hello, everyone. I'm Nancy Pierce. Coming up next on the News 10 Nightcast, if truckers want to keep on trucking, they're going to have to be drug-free. Rod Odom explains. Bullets were flying during a high-speed chase, and one man was shot. We'll tell you what happened. 3 are sentenced to death in China for their roles in the pro-democracy movement. And it is soggy times down on the farm, thanks to Mother Nature. Rob Roblin has details on a tropical depression, the first of the season, and in sports, Eric McClendon tells you why Terry Catledge may have a little magic up his sleeve. It's all ahead on the News 10 Nightcast.
The award-winning News 10 is next, only on Channel 10, WALA-TV Mobile. And now, from your live news leader, this is the News 10 Nightcast.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nancy Pierce. Bob Grip has the night off. The war against drugs is taking to the roadways tonight, and this is why. Imagine an 18,000-pound truck coming at you, and the driver of that truck is on drugs. That's a scenario the federal government hopes to avoid when mandatory drug testing for transportation workers goes into effect. All airline workers, railroad and interstate truckers would be forced to comply. Nightcast reporter Rod Odom talked to truckers tonight to get their reaction.
The federal government and the American Trucking Association believe the public has a right to expect truck drivers to be drug-free. That's why truckers will soon put the pedal to the metal under new rules. At the end of the year, a federal drug testing program is scheduled to begin for transportation workers. For truck drivers, that would mean random drug testing at the side of the road. Some truck drivers here at this truck stop in Grand Bay are in favor of the program. Others don't like it. Gary Hudson would appreciate random drug testing.
Right there. And him and another guy were looking for pills to switch off.
And they were saying this over the radio.
Over the radio.
Johnny Williams believes drug testing would be smart. He remembers the day when no-dose was the only substance used by truckers to stay awake for that long haul across country.
I think it's extremely necessary. You have a lot of people out here that shouldn't be out here that's using all kinds of crack, all kinds of dangerous drugs. You don't need that driving a truck.
But Fred Green believes the drug test he takes for his company is enough. He says forced testing would be an inconvenience.
Well, could be delayed in getting to your destination. That could cost you of not getting your load dropped off.
The American Trucking Association believes the drug testing program is a sound idea, but there are reservations. The group wants testing to apply to all truckers, large companies as well as small operations. But some truckers say if they are forced to undergo random drug testing, so should everyone who gets behind a steering wheel. In Grand Bay, Rod Odom, News 10.
Random testing faces opposition from labor groups, and several court challenges are pending. An investigation is pending tonight after a robbery suspect was shot by Mobile police. Officers say they shot 29-year-old Harold Jones as he approached them in a threatening manner. This happened after Jones drove a stolen patrol car in excess of 100 miles an hour. Police say Jones took the car after beating and trying to drown Officer Phil Snodgrass, who had stopped Jones as a suspect in a robbery at the Ramada Inn. Officer Snodgrass was taken to Spring Hill Memorial Hospital with a broken nose. Jones is in guarded condition tonight at USA Medical Center. Last night's police shooting raises the questions of when police are allowed to use deadly force. It is one of several incidents in the last 2 years where police have fired on criminal suspects. According to police department policies, deadly force is not to be used unless officers feel they or someone else is in danger of being killed or seriously injured. News 10's Lance Williams today was told being shot at or shooting first is a reality police officers face every day.
You didn't think you could take somebody's life in protecting someone else or yourself, and you're in the wrong profession.
Even though it's not an easy thing to do?
No, it's not an easy thing to do.
According to police reports, the officers who fired last night acted within department guidelines. However, a routine investigation is expected. President Bush continued his get-tough attitude on crime today. Speaking to federal law enforcement officers in Georgia, Mr. Bush campaigned for his $1.2 billion crime-fighting package. He pledged to the officers that his administration will no longer plea bargain with criminals who commit violent crimes with guns.
Our message Pack a gun and we will pack you away. No plea bargaining for that kind of crime.
The president is also urging governors to join his call for stiffer penalties for violent offenders and convicted killers. U.S. authorities tonight believe they finally have what it will take to put General Manuel Noriega away. This week, British authorities turned over 12 boxes of material they seized last October, including secret bank account receipts. The Panamanian ruler makes $50,000 a year, but since 1982, he's deposited $50 million in secret accounts. U.S. authorities believe the money is from Colombian drug bosses, international arms dealers, and the CIA, who had Noriega on its payroll. A U.S. Embassy spokesman in Panama tonight says 3 U.S. soldiers have died in a helicopter crash in Panama. The 3 were among the 1,900 troops sent to Panama by President Bush. The chopper went down near the Panama Canal while escorting a military convoy transporting troops. The OH-58 helicopter belonged to the 7th Light Infantry Division from Fort Ord, California. Now in China today, a court issued execution orders for 3 people accused of starting a riot in Shanghai. The men seen here in court were sentenced to death for setting a train on fire and beating security officials who tried to put out that blaze. And in another display of the crackdown on pro-democracy demonstrators, state TV showed arrested student leaders being displayed before a large crowd. They wore signs around their necks detailing their alleged crimes. Still to come tonight on the News 10 Nightcast, 10 on Your Side reporter Dave Straker helps a woman who had high hopes with a big disappointment. All of this stormy weather we keep having has Baldwin County farmers bogged down tonight. It's affecting both the potato and corn harvests. The sweet corn is ready to pick, but the fields look more like rice paddies. Some farmers have been using bulldozers to work the soggy fields, but even they were grounded in most places today. Bon Secours farmer Doug Lipscomb told News 10's Alan Green it doesn't look good.
We have about 3 or 4 days to actually get it out of the field. And after the 3 or 4 days, then it starts hardening on us, and then we have to, when it gets hard, then we have to leave it in the field.
These potatoes were harvested before the rains came, but those still in the fields are now in danger of rotting. So far, the situation hasn't affected the price at the market, but Silver Queen corn is becoming hard to find. Of course, we know that we do need rain. The farmers need rain, but not the way we're getting it.
Not that much rain. Nice amount of rain's fine, but I mean, when the fields are full of water, you can't do anything. And I love sweet corn.
I knew you were going to say that.
Love sweet corn. Love sweet corn.
Who doesn't?
We have a tropical depression out in the Gulf. Nothing really to worry about right now, but there it is on the satellite, as you can see. There's that tropical depression east-southeast of Tampico in Mexico. This is it. Maximum sustained winds. Well, let's take a look at exactly where it is so you will know. Tropical depression, latitude 20.5 north, longitude 94.0 west. Maximum sustained winds at 35 miles per hour. The direction it is moving now is very, very slowly going to the east-northeast. It is not predicted to amount to anything to speak of whatsoever. Matter of fact, the way things look right now, it will break up, but it is our first tropical depression, and when you have any kind of depression at all in the Gulf, you have to watch it. Don't worry about anything now. I think it'll break up, but we will keep an eye on it. Let's take a wider look at our satellite. And there's that cold front and that low-pressure system that moved through. Let me tell you, folks, this rain is stubborn on the live local radar. Let's look at it, and you can still see some rain. Yeah, it's breaking up, but this whole area was moving so nicely, coming from Mississippi, and then it came along the Gulf Coast in Mobile and over in Pensacola, and it just stalled. We've had light rain and drizzle since, well, early this afternoon, and a few showers. No heavy thunderstorms involved with it, but it is just sticking around. It will be breaking up by tomorrow. The national radar, you can see back in Texas, nothing going on. Clear back there, finally, for a change. Also back in Louisiana. We'll get some of those sunny skies, maybe not as fast as we would like, though. Right now, light rain in Mobile and Pensacola. Temperature 71, rather humid, I should say. 100%, that's humid. 97 in Pensacola. Winds out of the south in Mobile, southwest in Pensacola, and the pressure steady in Mobile and rising in Pensacola. Our high today, that cold front did give us some cooler air. Our high only 76, the low 71. The record high of 101 was set in 1952, and the record low of 60 was set in 1913. Here's tomorrow's map. We're looking for this system to become stationary somewhat. Still a few thunderstorms around, but it looks like this high-pressure system will eventually push this whole mess out, and we'll get a little bit of sunshine at least tomorrow. Small craft advisory is in effect. It's going to be rough out there tomorrow. Winds mostly out of the south at 20 knots and the sea's 5 to 7 feet. There are the tides and the river stages forecast for tonight. Mostly cloudy with rain ending. Yes, it will end. Low of 68 in the morning, and then tomorrow partly sunny skies by the afternoon. We may still have a little bit of rain around in the morning and some clouds around in the morning, definitely. High of 80 and a low of 65 at least some cooler air. And
Sounds
nothing
pretty
like
good.
the heavy thunderstorms we had today. They're gone. It's just that stubborn old rain running around.
All right, thanks, Rob. How many of you wouldn't pass up the opportunity to buy a giant screen TV for only $190? One of our viewers thought it was a bargain she couldn't let get by, but the only big thing she received was a big disappointment. 10 on Your Side reporter Dave Straker explains.
55-year-old Irene Godwin of Atmore said a big screen TV would be perfect for her husband's sports and the grandkids' video games. But when a vacation resort property awarded her a TV with 45-inch viewing capacity, she knew it would be worth $189 in shipping charges. But that was in January, and the TV still hasn't arrived.
That don't make you feel so good. $189 is a lot of money when you don't have it, you know. But we wanted a television, so big. I mean, this. Well, we would like the widescreen. Sounded good, but...
It might not have sounded quite as tempting if Irene knew that the 45-inch viewing capacity is actually only a 13-inch color TV. And the supplier in North Carolina told me those TVs have been on back order for months. At our request, the Alabama Attorney General is pressing for a refund for Mrs. Godwin. If you're asked to pay a whopping shipping and handling fee just to receive that prize you thought you were getting for free, be very careful. Usually those added-on fees are far more than the prize is eventually worth. On Your Side, Dave Straker, News 10.
And if you have a problem, call the 10 on Your Side hotline in Mobile at 434-1081. Now, here is a warning tonight for some of our elderly viewers. The Area Agency on Aging says it does not have any interviewers going out to homes gathering information. This warning comes after a recent incident where a girl with a clipboard reportedly gained entry to an older person's home by saying she was collecting information, and this was under false pretenses. The Area on Agency says be sure not to let anyone in your house without proper identification. When the News 10 Nightcast continues, testing newborns for the AIDS virus. Health Watch reporter Susanna Showers has details next. Well, there is sad news tonight from Hollywood. Actor Victor French, who starred in the NBC hit Highway to Heaven, is dead. French died of lung cancer today at a hospital in Sherman Oaks, California. He's also known for his role on Little House on the Prairie. French was 54 years old. Oh, we'll miss him, yes. You have some information on some possible AIDS testings for married people about to be married.
That's right. People have always heard of blood tests before you get married, but there's a new twist. Right now in Illinois, a couple wanting to get married have to have an AIDS test before they can get their marriage license. Illinois is the only state that has had a mandatory premarital AIDS test, and it's caused a lot of controversy. The law has been on the books since January of last year, and in this week's Journal of the American Medical Association, Illinois officials are reporting the test is an ineffective way of preventing the spread of the deadly virus. In the first 6 months of testing, only 8 of more than 70,000 applicants tested positive for the AIDS virus. Now, Illinois isn't the only state testing for AIDS. Health officials are about to screen another group of people towards the end of the summer. The Centers for Disease Control is planning the study in Alabama and in 12 other states. AIDS is a disease that has no age barriers. Newborns can contract the disease from their mothers, so there's one study to find out how big a problem that really is.
The Centers for Disease Control picked big populations where we could be screening a large number of people, where the sampling would be large enough and the data that is going to come out of that survey is going to be meaningful and reliable.
Health officials already use blood samples of newborns to test for several other problems. Now AIDS will be added to the list, and officials will take samples from every baby born in the state. Health officials will remove all personal identifiers from the blood samples, and individuals will never know their test results. The CDC says the reason for testing newborns is not so much for the babies, but to find out how many women of childbearing age are infected with HIV.
We have been relying on statistics from what is currently known on persons who have voluntarily submitted themselves to HIV screening, and that puts somewhat of a bias in the information because we are doing it on people who have volunteered themselves for testing.
With better numbers, the country may be able to get a handle on a deadly problem that's gotten out of control. They're planning on starting the study in August, but new mothers won't know the difference because they'll do all the testing in the lab in Montgomery. So we also want to thank everyone for going out and giving blood for Ethel and Hayes because they reached their limit today. They had to even turn people away, so they may be having another drive. We'll let you know.
Gulf Coast people really know how to help.
They really do.
Thanks, Susanna. Are working moms the only ones who feel guilty when it comes to leaving the kids behind? Not according to a new study which shows dads feel just as bad when they head out the door each morning. It shows that fathers also want to spend quality time at home, but on the other hand, they feel the traditional pressure of being a good provider. And coming up next in sports, former South Alabama player Terry Catledge could soon be changing uniforms. Eric McClendon tells you why when we return. Well, the NBA season is over.
Yeah.
No more talk of the Pistons or the Lakers and how the Lakers should have won from you and Craig.
Thank goodness.
But we do have more NBA news.
Yeah. Terry's on his way to another team now. Former South Alabama player. He always told me he believed in magic, though.
Aha.
Former South Alabama star Terry Catledge is packing his bags once again. Catledge started his career with the Philadelphia 76ers. Then moved to Washington for a couple years, but the Bullets left the 6'9" forward unprotected in today's NBA expansion draft. And now Cadillac is a member of the new Orlando Magic. Cadillac is in town for the summer. We caught up with him tonight at South Alabama, where he is playing a little basketball, of course. Now, despite making his third move in 4 years, Terry is actually happy about going to Orlando.
When I heard they weren't going to protect me, I just thought about Orlando. I had played a year under Matt Guokas and Pat Williams. I needed a general manager. I felt like that was a great organization going into.
Now, for a young guy like you, this is probably maybe even a blessing in disguise. You get a chance to start all over again.
No question. Like I said, I'm going in with a positive attitude. I have a real, I feel like Coach Guokas got along great with the 76ers, and I'm going to get the playing time, I'm going to get the minutes, and they're looking for me to come in and score and get some rebounding for them.
Now here's a look at some of the teammates that Catledge will be paired with next year. This one kind of surprising. Reggie Theus left unprotected by the Atlanta Hawks. He is now a member of the Orlando Magic, as is Jim Farmer, a former Crimson Tide star, Sidney Green of the New York Knicks, Keith Lee of the Nets, Sam Vincent of the Chicago Bulls. Now we'll look at the other NBA expansion team, the Minnesota Timberwolves. They will be with Rick Mahorn. That means Detroit will be without him next year. David Rivers of the Los Angeles Lakers and Shelton Jones of the 76ers. Now, Mobile is not the only place that's been super soggy lately. Today, the rain was heavy at the U.S. Open, but held off just long enough for them to complete the first round. Tom Kite is using a new cross-handed grip, and looks pretty good today. Kite is one stroke off the lead. Now, one of the co-leaders is this man, Payne I Can't Afford Long Pants Stewart. Now, Payne, with a nice approach shot here on 17, it sets up the birdie. He is 4 under 66 for the afternoon, as is this man, Bernhard Langer, who birdied 8 holes, but, yeah, he bogeyed 4 holes. Let's look at the leaderboard. Payne, Stewart, Bernhard Langer, and Jadon Black all coming in at 4 under 66. Jack Nicklaus, a good day for him, 67 for him, as well as Tom Kite and 3 other golfers. Things have been pretty soggy for the Atlanta Braves this season. The Braves, well, they had lost 6 straight entering tonight's game and were marred in last place in the National League West. But tonight, a ray of sunshine. The Braves win behind John Smoltz as they win 2-1 over San Francisco. Smoltz has won now 8 games for the Braves. Elsewhere, San Diego beat Cincinnati in 12 innings. Another extra inning games as the Cards beat Montreal 4-3. Philadelphia leads Pittsburgh in the 4th, as does Chicago over New York in the 4th. Houston and Los Angeles are tied at 1 in the 8th inning. Moving on to the American League, some good news for Nancy as her Royals win tonight. They beat Cleveland 5-4. No home runs for Bo Jackson tonight. Seattle downs Minnesota 9-5. Milwaukee over Toronto 6-4. The Yankees have a lead on the Orioles 2-1 in the 7th inning, and it's raining in Boston. They were postponed due to rain. Braves won tonight. That's